Welcome, everyone, to a special broadcast of the G.L. Henderson Show on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are podcasts. You can find them at artistfirst.com. Now, sitting in for G.L. tonight is our guest host, judge and author, Mr. Hubert L. Grimes.
Thank you, Z, and good evening to our listening audience out there. We are so glad to be with you, so happy to have this opportunity again, and of course, excited about the guests that we're going to be talking with tonight. You know, as we always say here on this show, we truly believe that education is important. In fact, education is the key to being and staying free. And so tonight we're going to be spending some time with a very dear friend, an accomplished individual who is, of course, going to show us how we're going to talk about the importance of education and talk about his role and how he got to where he is today and some of the things he's doing that helps to make a difference in the lives of thousands upon thousands of young people and continues to do so not only in the state of North Carolina, but throughout this country and even globally. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring to each and every one of our listeners out there tonight the Honorable, no less, Chancellor Dr. Johnson Akaleye, the Chancellor of the North Carolina Central University, located in the great state of North Carolina. Dr. Abe, and I'm going to call you Dr. Abe because we have such a great friendship that goes back 30 years or longer, and we're just so excited that you could take time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. Welcome.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, Judge Grimes, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to come and spend some time with you this evening on this podcast, and thank you for the invitation. I look forward to our conversation. And also thank you for that warm introduction.
Well, that's only the beginning of it because, you know, you have such a beautiful and outstanding resume dating back over the years. In fact, you are in itself an inspiration to many of our listeners out there, and particularly our young people. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about your background. You know, you are truly a global citizen. Having been born outside of the United States, let's talk about that background. And even though I might be privy to it, I just love to hear you talk about what brought you to this point in your life.
Thank you so much, Judge Grimes. And in fact, that is truly a story. As you well know, I am a Nigerian by birth. And, of course, I'm a naturalized citizen of the United States. And as you mentioned, I came here early in my educational career. I came to the United States shortly after I finished my high school education in Nigeria. As you well know, education is very, very, very well expected and prized and of all Nigerians because we believe that is the equalizer, and of course because of the transformative power of education, and especially if you come from a very humble beginning, that is your only ticket to success in life. There are other things that you can do, but education is almost a guarantee. And so yes. You would, at the time that I came to the United States, Nigeria does not have, at that time, didn't have the number of high school, post-secondary high education institutions that it really has today. Things have changed since then. Now you have a lot of private schools and technology schools and et cetera, et cetera. But at the time, we only have 3 primary universities in Nigeria at the time. And when you look at the number of students that are coming out of the high school, there is a serious competition to get into a university or a college. And because of the fact that, sometimes it's the survival of the fittest, many of us do seek that attainment outside of outside of Nigeria. So that's how I came to the United States, and of course with many others at that time. And again, there is always one thing that is on the forefront of our students who were coming on at that time. Your goal, which you're so fixated on, is to get that education. And
yes.
You don't play around, you don't fool around. In fact, I finished my undergraduate in roughly 3 years. And of course, went straight to pursue my master's and my doctorate at that time. That was the goal. And it is the same for many, many, many students who are coming from different parts of the world to the United States. And so we are very thankful for the opportunity that our education institutions in the United States provide for students like me and many others who came from a very long journey to seek that educational career here. So, Judge, go ahead.
You know, you have also such an interesting family background too that I'm sure our listeners would be very, very interested and impressed with your family background prior to coming to the country. So, tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Well, as you well know, at the time that I was growing up in Nigeria, you had many families who came out of a polygamous experience. My father was married at the time to two women, and they both live in the same house. We all live in the same house, and that was the what the women and then men at that time, it was well accepted, and between the two wives that my father had at the time came out of 22 children. And that in itself, my father was a primary school headmaster, and that was his career. And my mother was a trader. And you can imagine on such a humble and what I call meager family income, to have 22 children and to try to put all 22 of them through college. And at the time in Nigeria, you pay to go to high school. High school was not free. The only free education that you get is elementary education that you obtain free. Otherwise, you pay for, just as you pay for college, for high school. So you didn't have any time to waste at all. And you had a lot of competition. If you don't make progress, there is a brother or sister waiting behind you to proceed. And so you have to do everything that you can to make sure that your place in the family is well preserved and that you waste no time. And that's a different story on its own, because the family dynamics, the children, the competition, the living conditions, and the growing up with the siblings, and all of that in itself is a kind of adventure that prepares you as a person. And grounded in your values and who you are, so that making the journey here, you are pretty focused on why you came and what you must do to get ahead in life.
That is phenomenal, because it also raises a question, because, and I want to go back to that part in between, but it raises a very interesting question when you think in terms of students here in the States who have been blessed with just the privilege of growing up, going to free public education up through the 12th grade, and in many instances now, many states are even providing that for their AA degrees as well. And so yet many of them don't sense the importance of the competition or the importance of education for that matter. But you have used that whole entire experience as a springboard for your career. And of course, as I said, you are a career educator in so many levels, and of course that and more. But talk a little bit about how that early inspiration to quote unquote, that driving determination to get as much education as you can, how did that affect your life, and how did it reflect upon the choices that you made to help you to get to where you are today?
Well, it's a very good question, Judge Grimes. The children in this country are most fortunate to have all of the opportunities that are presented to them when it comes to education. And oftentimes, they don't always value those opportunities. And of course, in many cases, we have some children who make the wrong decision because these opportunities are really, really available for them if they would take advantage of that. Many of us, as we come in here at that time, also look at our family background. As I mentioned to you, and coming from a large family, you didn't want to waste a moment. So all of that, helped to shape determination, vigor to be successful. Now, of course, you couldn't do anything by yourself. God is always in the forefront. Mm-hmm. And many other friends that you come across along that journey. But for me, I've always wanted to be an educator. I came out of a family where my father was a primary school headmaster, and that was instilled in me. I wanted to help to make a difference in the lives of young people in this country. So as I was finishing my undergraduate and, of course, moving forward to pursue my master's and then of course my PhD at Howard University. It's always been on my mind to be a college professor, and that opportunity came as I was finishing my PhD at Howard. I was introduced to a friend who introduced me to someone at Bowie State University, and whereby I applied for the position, and I became a professor of mass communications while I was wrapping up my PhD. But the goal is usually quite simple, is to do whatever you are doing, to do it to the best of your knowledge and to the best of your ability. And so I went to work, and in my discipline, which was mass communications at the time, I had learned everything that I could learn, and I had very, very good opportunity to build a program at Bowie State. And then shortly after that, I had an opportunity again to come down to Bethune-Cookman College in Daytona Beach, Florida, an institution that was founded by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. And of course, her life story also was one that inspired me. When you look at the way that she rose up and all of that, I found some similarity in her passion for education and her willingness to help others. So that was quite an inspiring story for me. So when the opportunity came and I was invited to come down to Bethune to help them to build a program in mass communication, I was very, very excited. And I came down, even though at the time, the program was really very, very, very at its very, very beginning. And I saw an opportunity to build a program, to develop a program. And we worked very hard with the support of a lot of people who are no longer alive today. We built a very successful mass communications program at Bethune-Cookman College that attracted a lot of students, built a studio, a radio station, took the program from nothing to one of the largest programs across the campus. And of course, that was noted by a lot of people who said, well, you must have a talent and a keen interest in leadership, and we see all of that. Sometimes people see in you what you don't really see, you just do your work.
Right.
And leadership opportunities became open for me.
Okay.
And of course, I would always accept any challenge that people put before me. I don't complain very much, and people might say, well, I'm already doing enough. I don't want to do more. I take it on. If someone wants to do this, I take it on. So I had opportunity while I was at Bethune to lead programs such as the Reaffirmation of the college, learn so much about the SAC-COC, help the university to secure its decennial reaccreditation. That gave me a lot of knowledge. And at the time, I was director and chair of the mass comm programs. And my dean at the time, Dr. Louis Roosman, said, "Hey, you really have a great skill in leadership. We would like to." And so that's how I moved into the dean of the School of Arts and Humanities at Bethune. I did that for roughly 6 years, and then I also had the opportunity to be named as an associate provost for academic affairs. From there, one thing led to the other. I left Bethune briefly, went to Waters College at the time to assist Dr. Oswald P. Brunson when the university needed some help in regaining the accreditation. So I worked there. We worked together with others, got that university reaccredited again. I was named the chief operating officer and the interim vice president for academic affairs. I did that for some time, and then from there I left again. I went to I came into the University of North Carolina system. I went to the University of North Carolina in Wilmington as the associate vice chancellor for academic programs. And following in that line, I worked very hard at UNCW again, building programs and expanding programs and laying down new initiatives, et cetera, And from there, the opportunity came to move down to North Carolina Central University, where I became the provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs. As you could tell,
and you know what? Let me interrupt you there, because that's a very interesting situation. And as you mentioned earlier, that the hand of God was on your life, and that story of your moving into the role of chancellor, because like you say, you came from you were there as the number 2 person. I take it there at North Carolina Central, but some unusual things happened. And comment about that. What happened to move you from the place where you came to serve into the position that maybe you did not expect at the time, but as you said, the hand of God was on your life? Talk about that.
Absolutely. I've always wanted to lead an institution, no doubt. If you look at my trajectory, that's always been part of, my goal. And of course, sometimes your goal takes a little longer. Sometimes it comes sooner, depending on where you are and who cross paths with you in life. So it's always been my goal to be to lead an institution at the very highest level, either that of a president or of a chancellor. So I prepare myself, attending leadership institutes and seminars and workshops and doing all of the necessary things to build that skill. So when I came to NCCU, that is North Carolina Central University, as the provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs, almost 2.5 years into that role, as I was working with the current chancellor, Chancellor Sanders White, something tragic happened, and the chancellor suddenly took ill and became so ill that she had to step out and take a leave. At that time, because of the work that I had done, the system president, who was Margaret Spelling at the time, and in collaboration with our board and the Chancellor Sanders White, agreed that I should serve as the acting chancellor while she's out on leave. And so I graciously accepted that position. But the interesting thing was I was actually doing 2 jobs at that time. Again, the willingness to serve and put yourself in a position where some people might say, well, that's too much. I can't do that. Well, I accepted the challenge. I was running the academic affairs as well as managing the university through that very traumatic period. Unfortunately, at the end of that semester, which was the fall of 2016, I believe, the chancellor never recovered from her illness, and unfortunately, she passed away in November of 2016. And at that time, the system president appointed me as the interim chancellor of North Carolina Central University. So I was in that position at that time. Then, of course, I appointed an interim provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs. And I served in that position, that interim position. Remember now, from acting to interim. And I was in that position for roughly 6 months. And the university had to do a search because it is the policy of the UNC system that a national search had to be conducted. And a search committee was formed, as we normally do, and the committee was put together and all that. And they gave it to a national search firm. In fact, I was not intending to apply for the position because I felt that, well, maybe there are other opportunities for me elsewhere. So I was pursuing some other ideas. But I spoke to a couple of friends and confidants, and they said, hey, you're here doing the job. Why not apply for the position? And I applied for the position, and it was a very, very deep and long search that attracted lots of great candidates. But as you can tell, I went through the process and prevailed. Again, and in June of 2017, I was named the 12th Chancellor of North Carolina Central University.
All right. Amen. And that's what is so powerful, because you're probably not even aware, but my pen is going across this paper taking notes so fast and so much on this life story, because you are but an example to other young people in particular who may listen to this podcast and may have that question of, we always had to say when we're kids, we could ask that question of, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you have just given us so much information here, just talking in terms of how do you take that, what do you want to be when you grow up, and how do you cast that into a dream, and how from the dream to how does it become the reality? And so this is such great information that I know that our listeners out there are being inspired. Now, since you've been at NCNU, you guys have done a lot of wonderful things. I mean, you shared with me earlier this year about you completed several building projects on campus. Your student population has increased. You're doing a lot of research activities that impact the lives of people in a very positive way. So share with our listeners some of those things that you've been doing since you've been in the role as being Chancellor of NCCU. In fact, NCCU has a storied history as one of the great historically black colleges and universities in our country. And of course, I'd love to hear about some of that as well. So share with us some of the things you guys are doing.
Well, thank you, Judge Grimes. I always tell people I am very, very fortunate to have been named the 12th Chancellor of North Carolina Central University. I do believe there is something special about being number 12.
Yes.
As you well know, North Carolina Central University has a very rich history and tradition, nestled in the heart of Durham here, and very close, in close proximity to the Research Triangle here in North Carolina. We are in a very unique position. And then, when you look at the history of Durham itself and the surrounding community, the Haiti community, if you go back and study the history, you will see that we are in a very, very unique place that has a very, very rich tradition of African Americans really doing great things. In 1910, when the North Carolina University College, North Carolina College at the time was founded, it was founded by Dr. James E. Shepard. Dr. James E. Shepard was a very successful businessman. He was a pharmacist by trade and a businessman who was doing very well. But because of the challenges of that time, he had the passion and the empathy to want to start an institution that would provide access to African Americans who at the time, as you well know, in the history of our country can gain access into neighboring institutions, mainstream institutions across the country. That was his passion and vision, and he went forth then, of course, to establish this institution to provide an opportunity for African Americans then to transform their lives so that when they finish, they can go on and transform the lives of others and the lives of people in their community. And so we have that very rich history, and we've been doing that for 111 years now. And so, again, with me at the hand, I understand that very rich history very well. And as I have done in everything that I've pursued in my life so far, I always want to make the place better than I found it, and then of course to leave a legacy for the people who are coming behind. So when I became the Chancellor, I set out a number of priorities that I believe as an opportunity for me as being the provost. I've seen areas where we believe we can really grow. And therefore, I laid out a number of 6 strategic priorities based on what I saw on the ground at that time. And the number one was to continue to create access for students who are seeking, higher education. And what do we mean by that? Creating more access for students doesn't mean that, they all have to come to a face-to-face. We want to open the door of NCCU to students, non-traditional students, first-time college-going students, students who want to go to school in the evening and to be more flexible. That was our goal, and I continue to pursue that by establishing a robust NCCU.edu online. Of course, that goes along with preparing the faculty and preparing the staff and investing in resources to build a robust e-learning studio for our faculty. And that was our number one priority at the time. In addition to that, I also noticed that being an urban institution, we sit in the heart of Durham, and there was a lot of crime happening around the university. And most universities, as you know, most HBCU these days are usually in the urban area. And then you have areas of the university that are somewhat depressed economically. And of course, which produces a lot of crime. So my goal was to create and to put resources into making the campus a safe environment for our students so that when parents come to us, we can say to them, your loved ones here at NCCU will be in a safe campus environment. So we launched a number of strategic objectives. We decided that we would invest roughly $3.5 billion into security on campus. We went and put on campus more than 1,600 cameras. These are 360-degree cameras. We installed blue lights, emergency lights all across the campus. We put in more lighting all over the campus. Everywhere you go at night, the campus is flooded with lighting. We changed access entry to card entry throughout the campus so that anyone who's coming, either students, faculty, or staff going into the buildings, we use their card, and we can track that. We know who goes into what building at any given time on campus. Okay. And we also then put what we call the prop alarm on all of the doors of our residential halls. Students sometimes will order pizza, and they go and crack the door open, waiting for the pizza man or the pizza person to get there, and somebody else might sneak in there. And so we put a prop alarm door that, if that door is open more than a minute or two, the alarm goes off. So we took all of those steps, and then we put additional resources into our campus, our police department for training, for hiring more forces, as well as working with the city of Durham, the police department in the city of Durham to partner with them to give us an MOU so that our campus security would have the patrol permission and authority to arrest people who are perpetrating crime on all of the streets that bother our campus. That way, they can go onto the public streets and actually arrest people. And so that was really quite an achievement. And we have one of the safest, in fact, we were just named the safest campus here now in North Carolina most recently. Wow. Right. And
you're not only educating students, but you're, as you say, you're educating them in a safe environment. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yes, that was our second goal at the time. And then, of course, as I was coming in, the number three, we wanted to improve the infrastructure on our campus. As you well know, many of our HBCUs have aging infrastructure. We have dormitories that are very, very old and with very limited repair and renovation resources. Those buildings are needing to be constantly repaired. We have challenges with them. At the time that I became Chancellor at North Carolina Central University, we were actually putting students in hotels because of the challenges that we had in some of our housing units across the campus, that the roof or mold or something. So I and my team decided that, we are going to build new facilities for our students who come to study and learn with us. And people said that we couldn't do it. And of course, the state does not support student housing. And we felt that we needed to do what our peers are doing across the country by engaging a public-private partners to do those projects. And of course, it isn't easy, as you well know. We had to get permission from the Board of Governors. We had to go through a lot of process to seek partners, to bonding and all of that. But I was determined. We were the first HBCU to do so in North Carolina. I was determined that we were going to build that, and we were very successful. So we got the project started. But we were very able to do that because we had to go to the system first to allow us to designate the university as a Millennium campus. In North Carolina, you have to be designated as a Centennial or Millennium campus in order for you to engage a public-private partner to do anything on your campus. So we went through that process. We secured the Millennium campus designation, and 23,000 acres of land on our campus was designated as a Millennium campus. That way, we were able to engage in the public-private partnership, and we finished just this last year 3 state-of-the-art, brand new housing units for our students that are apartment-like, that gives them the state-of-the-art living and learning. And at the same time, we also were talking about how do we create a place for our students on campus where they can engage each other. And we didn't have a student union that is like many others across, even within our system. And so we engage our students, and they talk to us. They say, well, look, they would tax themselves with student fees. And today, we have built and opened probably one of the most impressive student center across the state on the campus as we speak today. And we also went to the bond in North Carolina to secure funding for a new school of business, and to the tune of somewhere around $38 million. And we are in the late stages of that construction right now, whereby we will have a brand new state-of-the-art school of business. And I believe this building would open very early, not late this semester, it will open very early next semester. And then, of course, later this year, we plan to break ground for a 24/7 collaborative research center on our campus that would allow our students and our faculty to engage each other and to collaborate in research in a 24/7 building that is open to them wireless, where they can do research all night long. So in total, we would have completed in the 5 years that I've been Chancellor, we would have completed 6 capital projects, which is really just incredible. And in addition to that, we also are expanding our campus because we live in a place where it's a food desert. If you come to NCCU, we don't have national retail around us. And in an attempt to keep our students on campus so that they would not go into the neighborhoods, we decided to expand the national retail on our campus. Right today, we have close to 10 national retail on our campus. Going from Pizza Hut to Starbucks to Chick-fil-A to Subway to Freshens and we're getting ready to open a the name just escaped my mind right now. Panera Bread.
You're starting to make me hungry.
So
you're talking about all those opportunities.
Right. Well, what we're trying to do here is that our students, when they come to the campus, we want them to feel comfortable in their housing as well as in their classroom. We have turned the campus into a powerful living and learning place for our students. They are very, very comfortable on campus. They are pleased on campus. They have reasons to want to be on campus. So what we're doing in the classroom as well as what we're doing outside of the classroom complement their well-being. And so that's a goal number 3 for us. By the same token, I also put in place a strategic priority where I wanted to expand our research portfolio, our research apparatus. When I came into NCCU, NCCU was generating $20 million in sponsored research. As you well know, we have 2 major research institutes on our campus. We have the Biomedical Biosciences Research Institute, which we call the BBRI. And here we have more than 37 full-time researchers who are doing cutting-edge research in health disparities particularly affecting people of color, minority, and we are securing grants in this area, major grants, and we also partner with our neighboring institution, Duke, Chapel Hill, and NC State in that area. So we also have another research center that we refer to as the Biomanufacturing Research Technology Enterprise, which we call BRITE. This is a unit where we also have close to another 40 researchers, in-house full-time researchers that came from various parts of the industry. And in this institute, we do drug discovery and drug manufacturing. And so the research that goes on in BBRI, Biomedical Biosciences Research, moves to BRITE, where we do drug discovery to complement those. And we've actually have 2 companies that have spun off from this place. And so with the 2 research institutes combined, and plus the work of our scientists in the STEM area, we are now, as of 2018, we're now generating up to $30 million in sponsored research funds that we get from various national organizations and government organizations who are engaging us in cutting-edge research. And that, of course, provides opportunity for our students. And just to say, Judge Grimes, you are also aware that NCCU has a rich tradition in law. We have one of the best law schools in the nation, with a history of graduating and nurturing people of color as well as other individuals in our country. Our law school has produced great leaders. One of the governors of this great state of North Carolina, Governor Easley, was a graduate of our law school. We have many legislators in the General Assembly here in North Carolina, Mickey Mashaw, Congressman Butterfield in Washington, D.C., the former mayor of Atlanta, Mayor Maynard, and the list goes on in terms of people who have graduated from our law school as we continue to have to produce leaders for the state and for the nation.
But you know, I'm going to interrupt you because one of the things I remember too from years ago was a man named Dr. Walker, and he was one of the first, if not the first, black Olympic track coaches, highly successful. From your school, from the Eagles, North Carolina Central Eagles.
Yes. Well, you know, the story of NCCU is so broad and so impressive, not just in the academic arena, even on the athletic field. As you've said, Walker was one of our chancellors, and we have a building that's named after him on campus now, the Walker Complex. As you were an Olympian, and we have others, Doug Jones and many others, who have gone to play, you know, professional basketball, professional football, and all of that. We are one of the leading institutions in MEAC. We've won several championships in basketball as well as in football. And we continue to build a very strong athletic program here at NCCU. I wanted to just talk a little bit about some of our academic programs, because I don't want people to get the sense that all we're doing is just building the infrastructure. We are also, part of our strategic directions when I came in was also to begin to expand our academic offerings, our portfolios, to make sure that we are able to add programs that are addressing the workforce of the future. So we are creating new programs in clinical research, in information technology, in cybersecurity, in pharmaceutical sciences, in biomedical sciences. We are creating all these new programs. In the last 5 years, we've added more than 10 undergraduate degree programs and a number of master's degree programs to open the doors for students who ordinarily not consider NCCU. But because we're looking at the workforce of tomorrow, we continue to pursue and to expand our academic portfolio and offering. Even as we speak, one of our major goals is to move NCCU from a large, comprehensive designation by Carnegie into research too. Because when you look at all the things that I've said about NCCU, the amount of research that we're doing, even though we only have one PhD, and the PhD is in integrated biosciences, we are laying the foundation now for 3 additional PhDs that will put us into the research to classification by Carnegie. We're already doing the work in that area. We just need to position ourselves by adding additional PhDs so that we can meet that criteria. So that is what I've charged our provost now, and we're working on that. In fact, we already have proposals now laid out for 3 additional PhDs. I believe psychology, clinical, criminal justice, and I can't remember the third one. But we are working very hard in all fronts.
Wow. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Now, have you got a chance to kind of, because you're getting ready to start up a new academic year here shortly, and we were talking earlier before we came online tonight about your student population. Where are you in terms of your student population as you anticipate coming into the new year?
Well, we're working very hard. Our enrollment is holding steady. In North Carolina, we have a cap on the number of out-of-state students that we can admit by state mandate. And so we're operating under that 35% cap for out-of-state. Otherwise, we would admit as many out-of-state students as they're coming to us. Our brand is so good. And but we're working with our legislators on and possibly expanding that cap or even maybe removing it altogether. But even with that limitation, enrollment is holding steady. We are 8,000 plus at this particular point. And we are building a robust graduate program. Plus, we have a robust distance education program, as I mentioned earlier. So we're not only just admitting students to face-to-face on campus, we are also admitting students. We have right now more than 10 undergraduate degree programs that can be offered fully online, where students do not have to set foot on our campus at all. And I think we have about 5 or 8 masters as well. And we continue to expand those. Right? Wow.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
You truly, I made this note here. I said, you are truly putting the work in order to to educate the minds of our young people and looking forward to the future. I mean, the cutting edge things that you're talking about, you're developing, looking at how do you develop a workforce of tomorrow. These young people that are graduating 20, 22 years old, and now, I mean, they don't even know 20 years from now what the opportunities will be, but you are actually looking further down that road to be able to give them an opportunity to be able to take good care of themselves and to be contributors to the society and to this world. So hats off to you for all of what you're doing.
Well, thank you, George. Part of our role as educators is really to look at the future. And nowadays, as you know, the labor force is changing as we are embracing new technologies in new energy resources and climate issues. And, the challenges that we face now are not the challenges that we faced, 50, 60 years ago. And if a student is going to be successful in stepping into that new economic marketplace, we have to be able to prepare them for the job of tomorrow. And these jobs are in the area of technology, cybersecurity, information technology, new energy production, and so many other nanotechnology, nanoscience, in all of these areas. So we are very mindful of that. And of course, we still have the traditional programs, teacher education. We are the number one producers of teachers for the Durham Public Schools. I was talking to the Durham Public Superintendent about 2 weeks ago. We met in a meeting, and he told me that NCCU is the leading producer of principals for the Durham Public School, ultimately for the 5 county areas that we serve here in North Carolina. So we have not forgotten the traditional programs. We have a strong nursing program that is also feeding, the workforce, the hospitals in this area, as well as serving the African American population in our area. So we are mindful of make sure that while we preserve traditional program, we want to also look forward and create opportunity for our students to be able to move into the future workforce.
And one of the things that immediately comes to mind is how so many of our young people today are influenced by what they see. They see the entertainers, they see the musicians, the actors, they see the sports athletes, and that becomes, particularly for when kids are young, that becomes their drawing card. They want to be like Mike, so to speak, when they grow up. Or they want to be like Kobe, or they want to be like LeBron, or they want to be like a football player, or they want to be a rapper, or they want to be Beyonce. And yet, you're giving a much broader vision where the opportunity and the likelihood of success is far greater, because we think about the limited number of people who will be successful in those fields in comparison to the opportunity to take care of your family based upon hard data, upon a good job, upon a good business opportunity, upon good entrepreneurial skills, all the host of things that may very well be able to inspire. So what does a young person need to be thinking about, should I say, in preparing themselves for college, or for that matter, even for some of the opportunities that you've shared that may or may not necessarily require that college degree? What are some of those things that you're telling your high school students, or your recruiters are telling their high school students that they should do in order to move forward with their lives?
Well, that's really a very good question, Judge Grimes. Not just the high school students. We know we have to go way back there to create a pathway for them, because we all know the value of education. But even those who come to college, we have to prepare them in such a way that they can become entrepreneurs. Not necessarily just looking for a job when they graduate. There are opportunities to create, employers, and we emphasize that on our campus. I have what is called the Eagle Promise that we put in place, 5 years ago. And that Eagle Promise is premised on 4 pillars. 1, we want you to graduate in 4 years. We are designing a program for you that will get you out of, the institution in 4 years. Thereby, you do not amass debt that you don't need. That's number 1.
Okay.
And number 2, we also want you to be trained as an international and global leader, because we know that the world is so connected now. And when many of our students who come from very rural areas, who for the first time they're coming to a city like Durham, they've never been any other place. We know that once they graduate, many of them will take a job in business, in sciences, and clinical research, and they are going to be working for Fortune 500 companies, or 100 Fortune companies that are not local, that are international in nature. And our students will have the opportunity to work with people who do not look like them. And so we are training our students in the soft skill that prepares them to become, globally and international savvy. It is part of that promise. And then, of course, promise number 3, we say to our students, we want you to become a leader. One of the soft skills that employers are looking for, regardless of what discipline you are in, is leadership. And that you don't get in the classroom. It has to be developed through co-curricular activities that we put in place on campus, going to seminars, going to workshops, going to conferences, attending, traveling around and making sure and putting a program in place to provide the leadership skill for them. And then number 4 in our promise is that we want you to be market ready. And when we say we want you to be market ready, meaning that the very first day that you receive your diploma here, you already have a job lined up for you. Or you have been admitted into a graduate school or professional school. Those things do not happen by accident. You have to have an ecosystem on campus that prepares those students for those opportunities. So thereby, in all of the partnerships that we are forming with industries and corporations and foundations, the first thing I said to them is you need to create an internship, a field experience opportunity for our students. Paid. We now have over 150 companies that we partner with that are providing, internship experiences for our students, paid, so that before they graduate, they would have had the opportunity to do 2 major internships. We had about 8 students that went to Dell in Austin, Texas this summer that are paid $5 an hour, and opportunity to create a job for them. We partner with Lowe's. Lowe's just gave us $1.4 million. We partner with Intel in our law school that gave us $5 million. And we are partnering with PNC Bank, so many other corporations. And what we're saying to them is, while you are helping us with financial support, which we know we need, we also need your partnership in creating pathway opportunities for these students so that they can get their first job when they graduate from us. That way, internship opportunities for them where they are immersed in your organization, learning from people who may not necessarily look like them or people who look like them at times, and letting them know these are things that they can do. And so you speak of young people who are always looking for the microwave thing. I just partnered with one of our music alumni that is on the verge of he's on the rise. His name is Marcus Anderson. If you have not heard him, look him up. Marcus Anderson is a jazz musician. He graduated from NCCU. I mean, this young man is on the verge of, the last 2 weeks, he's got the #1 album on the Billboard in jazz. And what I said to him is, look, Marcus, you are successful. What I want you to come back and become artist in residence for us so that you can teach the music students who are coming out here thinking that, once I finish, I'm just going to get a record label, I'm going to get this and that. Teach them the business of the industry. Show them how they can position themselves, how they can market themselves. These are things that you've done. So part of the education that we're giving to our students nowadays, Judge Graham, is not simply just giving them a diploma. We have to equip them with tools that will make them to be successful. If they want to start a business, we want to show them on campus before they graduate how to do that. We have a hub on campus where we have a Fab Lab on campus. The very first Fab Lab in partnership with MIT, we built it on campus. We have a IP center in our law school, intellectual property clinic on our campus, where we're teaching our law students to be able to become patent lawyers, trademark, and all of that, things that you normally don't see minority in. We just established a tech law center in our law school through the partnership with Intel. So just providing a degree for students nowadays is not enough. We have to show them how they can maximize their strength and the opportunities that are out there for them. If they are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, if they are thinking about starting their own business, how do you do that? Those things that are not necessarily taught in the classroom, we are creating the ecosystem for it on campus. We have a hub in the School of Business. So these are some of the things that we are putting in place to prepare our students for the workforce.
You know, as I'm listening to you, it's so amazing. You know, you come full circle in this context, because when you started off, I introduced you as a global thought leader, and you have from your home in Nigeria to the States, but now you are actually transporting that information back around, not just to Nigeria, but around the world through the global education, through the ideas that you are putting into your students, the opportunities that you're experiencing, that they're experiencing with these other global corporations. And so I just want to say to you that congratulations, you are not just have, but are doing a phenomenal job with our students. But, you know, as we get ready to wrap up for tonight, if you could just kind of give us some of your closing thoughts that for those that are out there that are listening in terms of this whole world of education, how it's evolving. Give us some closing thoughts about that tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Judge Grimes, and for the opportunity to really dialogue with you tonight on many, 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 many important issues, particularly with emphasis in education. I mean, as we now know, things have not changed very much from what it was in the past. Education is still that equalizer. It levels the playing field. It does not matter where you come from or how you are defined. If you get education, it transforms your life, the lives of your generations to come after you, the lives of your community. And so we have to continue to instill in our young ones today, particularly African Americans, that there is no shortcut anywhere. There is no microwave, success out there. You have to work for it. And education is the way, is the only transformative, phenomenal that can take you from nowhere to somewhere. And that is what we believe in, and that's what we are doing as educators.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me thank you for truly taking time out of your schedule and just sharing with us tonight all the things that you shared. And I actually jotted up some points down I want to emphasize to our listeners as we're wrapping up for tonight. You know, you started off with the importance of having a burning desire. And then you talked about the importance of putting in the work, never being afraid to go the extra mile, to take on the extra assignment. And of course, in the process of doing that, you prepare oneself for your future opportunities that are going to come your way. And of course, we can never discount the favor of God on your life and but that preparation that you do sets you up to be able to experience the blessing that comes through that favor. And of course, doing the job, putting in the work, maintaining not only the rich history of our past, but also establishing your own personal history and dialogue that's going to help transform your lives. And so as I wrap up for tonight with my comments, I would just be reminded of the same thing that we started with tonight, and to remind all of you, those of you that are listeners, education is the key to being and staying free. You've heard it said here tonight. And so go out, be encouraged, do those things that will help to propel you into that future, because none of us know exactly where the future is going to take us, but we got to prepare ourselves nevertheless, because guess what? It is going to happen. Let's make sure that we're ready for it. So thank you again, Dr. A. We appreciate you. You've been listening to Dr. Johnson Akaleye, the Chancellor of North Carolina Central University, located in Durham, North Carolina. And with that, we'll say a fond adieu to each and every one of you. Until the next time, we come together here on the G.L. Henderson Hour. God bless you all.